What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Hammer or the Nail. This is Hammer Volume 3. This is actually my first match ever outside of Team Link. It was like 3 months after my training. I'm about a year and some change in there now. Kind of just wanted to go back to see how I was rolling before compared to how I'm rolling now, and just, be able to spot those differences and show a little progress. All right, so the match starts up, and we end up getting this tie-in with this guy. I don't remember his name. Apologize to this wipeout here. So we're trying to go for this underhook here. In wrestling, we like to throw a lot, so we just like to get this underhook, wrap it around high, either around his shoulder or high shoulder blade, just to control the arm. All right, and he tries to go for this trip here because he has this sleeve and he has this overhook, but our base is too strong, so he kind of just kicks our leg and it doesn't really do anything. Then he tries to do this kick through, which would work if he was pulling harder on my sleeve and kicked higher up with this leg. But we have good base here in this leg as well, so we don't go down. Instead, we end up taking him back into a suplex motion for a throw. Boom. So we hit that reversal there. The reason it worked is this leg's in the air, wrapped around ours. His body's contorted. He has no base on this side. If I were to try and throw him this side, right, you could hop on his leg or put this leg on the ground and then we're bullfighting. But if you go this way, there's no base. So that's why we went backwards. Boom. All right, so now we're just trying to secure our side control. All right, we got our points. And my hips honestly should be a lot lower compared to his, right? Because if you see here, we have good side control. But as soon as I start moving to the left, I'm making way too much space between our hips, which then causes this gap for this leg to be able to grab, to jump in there. So boom, he starts getting it back as guard. Luckily, we cut our hips away, right? Just so he couldn't get back in there. And then we start going for this north-south choke right here. So I had his head tied up pretty well. Now we're just kind of walking to become parallel to his body. That whole time, my body should have been a lot closer to the mat, my hips. I knew there were refs and people around us, so I think subconsciously that's probably why I kept my legs short, but still, I should have had them elongated to, one, keep the pressure low and keep the pressure on him. The second thing is his head is completely looking into my ribcage, which means he'll be able to turn his body into mine. During this transition, right, I'm prioritizing getting north-south instead of prioritizing this head-arm connection, right? We want his head to look the opposite way so he wouldn't be able to turn into us, thus giving us access to the artery on this side of his neck for the choke anyway. But we're prioritizing getting this north-south position, and his head's already turned towards us, so it doesn't take him much to keep turning in and be able to survive that choke. We try and step over, he ends up re-guarding, and then we just go back to the same position because it worked before, and then we start reaching to see what we can get. At this position, the way he was holding his arms, right here, I'm thinking, I think I can get a Kimura. So I'm holding his head tight, and I'm just trying to reach for this wrist to see if I can get a good grip. We'll let go of the head, reach behind his back, and then try and go for the Kimura that way. At least that's what I'm thinking in my head. So here we go for our favorite pass, our leg pass, except it's not really executed well here. We're targeting this arm, so usually in this pass, this elbow wants to be in front of this arm so he can chicken wing both of his arms above his head. And then this elbow should be outside my hip, but it's underneath. I really should have just been laying on the pressure to get this hip on the ground. Even if it was going to crush his arm, he would have eventually moved it. But it would have just helped me solidify this position a lot better instead of messing around with this arm over here trying to get the Kimura. So now I'm sitting, I'm waiting to see what he's going to do with that arm. He has it tucked super close to his body. So we kind of give up on that and we back up a little bit. Obviously, if I could go back, I'd probably stay in that position because it's not uncomfortable. It's not comfortable for him, and we probably could have got something with that arm. So we decided to go back to side control. Not really, it's more half, just because he has his leg trapped. But again, my hips are super high, and there's just plenty of space for him to maneuver in. I should have just been a lot tighter to his body. So start going in for this lapel choke. It's actually funny, a week before this competition, my coach actually showed me this choke and he was like, you know, you might need it, blah, blah, blah. And it actually came in handy. So that's pretty cool. So we start setting up this choke here, right? It's a paper clip choke. We grab the opposite collar with our hand, with 4 fingers on the outside, thumb on the inside. That's gonna put pressure on this side of the neck, right? And then we, I don't know if you can see it, right here with my right hand, we grab the inside of his collar, which will then put pressure on this side of his neck. So we have pressure on this side of his neck, on this collar, and then this arm is pulling up to create pressure on this side. And this is the paperclip choke. So basically, we're just trying to cut off oxygen to his head. So we start going for this choke here. Boom. And there's a couple things. He's pushing up on me, right? I want to get my chest to him, get this elbow to the mat, and then pull super high with that other arm just to complete the loop. So he's fighting me, going full zombie. If my leg was out of this half guard, it actually would have been a beautiful attempt to try and armbar him, just because he was pulling up on me so much. But in my white belt brain, right, with only 2 months of training, I'm like, I have this, I'm not letting go. So that's kind of where that went. So we're working this choke, and then boom. As soon as I get this elbow close enough to the mat, I'm completely cutting off oxygen to him right now. At this point, now we're just holding position. He even let go of his guard. We probably could have kicked his leg over and been perpendicular to him, trying to get this kill. So boom. At this point, the choke's locked in. Let me see if I can go back here. His post that he had, right, inside his body, keeping my chest away from his, and then this arm kind of pushing up on my gi, keeping my shoulder from getting closer to him, his frames. But as his frames break down, my chest slowly gets closer to his chest. This slowly sinks in, and then we get the tap there. So I have the position. It's all about just locking it up after that point, and fighting his frames. Let's see if we can go back a little farther. So boom, we lock it up here. We get in position. We yank it up, and then we start pulling down. He's pushing on us. We're slowly getting closer, getting closer. And boom, we get the tap right there. All in all, not too bad. There's definitely some things that would change if I can go back into this match again, but that's what all progression's about, you know, watching your matches and getting better every day. I think I'm doing a competition in October. There's two competitions in October, actually. There's another naga, and then there's a IBJJF again in Boston for the documentary that I shot. So I might be doing those two, but my Jack and Jill's also the week in between those two competitions. So I'm not really sure how many, which ones I'm gonna do. That will come up soon. Obviously, I have to make a decision because we're only a few months away, so I can kind of get into that mode again. But I'm just love competing. I can't wait to do it again. As always, thank you guys for checking out the videos. I appreciate you all. And yeah, let's keep going, keep getting better. And don't forget, follow your dreams.